Okay, where do we start? With the Fox News, Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless, Charlie Dixon scandal. A lot has happened. A lot of information is out there. I'm going to do a quick recap and then kind of go into what some of the other sports commentators, others who have worked at Fox Sports, what their comments are on the whole situation, how they feel some of these things may have actually affected their career. So, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about or kind of know but not really, former hairstylist Noushin Faraji, who was a hairstylist as well as makeup artist, who worked for Fox Sports, did Joy Taylor's makeup and hair, eventually did Skip Bayless's hair, has come out with a ton of allegations against a whole crew of people at Fox Sports. Now, some personalities like Shannon Sharpe had his name put into the lawsuit. However, there is no evidence that he has done any wrongdoing. So let's get that off right from the start. Other personalities like Emmanuel Acho has also been named in this lawsuit. But let's go, a couple of names at a time. Throughout this week, with all this information coming out, former football player and now podcaster who also worked for Fox Sports, Marcellus Wiley has made several videos outlining his experience at Fox Sports and how he feels now that he has all the information that potentially Joy Taylor may have been the reason that he was worked out of his contract. Wiley said that Dixon had pushed to change his role and his contract, and he now believes that Taylor, who was supposedly also involved in a adult way with Charlie Dixon as well as Emmanuel Ocho, feels that this is probably what has happened, that this is why he was pushed out and offered things that they knew potentially he would not accept. He says it makes him look at everything that went down with him and others a lot differently. He also says the Charlie element came in and unlocked it. I said, I swear I never saw that there could be a love triangle. In the positive way, I'm getting squeezed because Charlie and Joy and Acho are all running triangle on me. So this is how he's feeling now. Now that information has come out, and I'm sure all of us have been in a situation where things happen, you're not happy about things, but you don't know why. And later on, you find out more information and you start to realize things were not exactly what you thought. Now, Marcellus has had lawyers reach out to him and tell him that he has potential for a lawsuit, that these items are actionable. Now, we'll have to wait to see if Marcellus decides to go that route. Right now, he has just been talking on his podcast. But again, we'll have to keep our eyes open to see what happens from there. Another sports commentator who is weighing in is Jason Witlock. Now, Jason has had some very, what's the best way to put it? Scandalous words. Has talked about Joy in a very unfavorable light. Not only did he not feel that she was qualified for the position, he also felt why she worked at Fox Sports that he knew that as a man, he needed to keep himself away. And he has described her as having large cans and peanut butter skin. So for him, he knew that I need to stay away from this woman. There's no good that's going to come from this. And he has had many discussions on his podcast talking about Joy Taylor, the experience of seeing her at Fox Sports. And he too potentially feels that, decisions were made because Joy was sleeping with Charlie Dixon, Emmanuel Acho, sorry, keep forgetting how you pronounce his name. But anyways, all these commentators, like we said, who have had experience at Fox Sports are now coming on. They all have their own podcasts now. Now, Cam Newton, former quarterback, has also come in with some comments from his podcast, and he is on the other end of things where he's defending Joy Taylor. He's not happy about the way Jason Witlock has described Joy with her big cans and her peanut butter skin. And then, we have a back and forth. Jason Witlock now is saying things about Cam Newton and the fact that he has several children who, with different women. So, there's a lot of people talking about character. And I guess it's up to you and everybody else to decide who has good character and who doesn't. I know some people, Jason Witlock, he also talks political things, and sometimes people don't agree with him there. He sometimes has some different takes. And again, everybody has their right to their own opinions. Just putting the information out there and trying to condensing it all of what's happening on the internet since this whole scandal has come out. Stephen A. Smith as well has come out and talked about the allegations that have been put forth, and he says he's shocked. He says, I can't imagine Skip Bayless, so again, another person who has been named in the lawsuit, is doing something like that. Smith said, the Skip Bayless I know had a hard time giving away $15. He's one of the cheapest people I know. I don't have any inside knowledge of this. I don't, and I'm not going to get involved. I know Skip, and I'm very, very heartbroken that he finds himself in this situation, being accused of these allegations. But I can't, over the airways, being irresponsible and attaching truth or innocence, or guilt to anything that I know nothing about. All I can say, I don't think it's a crime to say, it's just like I said with Jay-Z, the person that I've known for 25 years. I've never seen anything like that from that person, anything close to that from that person. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Skip Bayless, his role in the lawsuit, or what he's alleged to have done, is to offer this hairstylist, Faraji, $1.5 million to sleep with him. Now, that's a lot of money, and apparently she alleges in the lawsuit that there were lingering hugs, kisses on her cheek, while putting his body against hers and pressing against her breast. Again, these are allegations. Skip is a married man who, got to start in Dallas as a columnist for the Cowboys, and in 2024 he was dumped by FS1 at Fox. Now again, he too has his own podcast, because it seems a lot of the mainstream media people have moved to getting their own podcasts. Skip was fired shortly after his fallout with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe also, as I said, is a name mentioned in the lawsuit, but again, there are no claims against him except for the fact that Faraji says that this was the reason Skip kept pushing her. Skip felt that there was something physically happening between Shannon Sharpe and the hairstylist. She denies it. Shannon Sharpe denies it. There's no proof that anything has happened there. But apparently this is the reason that Skip Bayless felt that he should be able to approach this hairstylist. Now, the lawsuit seems to be focused a lot on Skip because that's people that who we know. Charlie Dixon, unfortunately, although he's the head of Fox, he's not a face that we're familiar with, so most people don't talk about him as much as though they should, because with all the stuff that's happening, he's the head. He's the one that had all the power. Now, we'll go into a little bit later how Joy Taylor thought she could take away that power. But again, so Joy Taylor's is accused in the lawsuit of basically telling Faraji to get over it when it came to claims about her, Skip Bayless being inappropriate with Faraji. It seems that Faraji also had interactions with HR at Fox Sports. They too did not handle the situation in an appropriate way. Apparently, they're not trained. You would think in a huge organization like Fox that their HR specialists should have better training on how to deal with sexism, sexual harassment complaints in the workplace, but apparently that's not the case. And again, this is alleged. I am not part of Fox Sports. I've never worked at Fox Sports. This is just information that is coming through from the lawsuits and other broadcasters, commentators on the internet. So it's alleged that Taylor came from Miami, started on Fox. She had a very limited role, just filling in when, individuals were off for a day or so. But she had her sights set on getting a full-time position. Now, Joy was married at the time, but her husband stayed back in Miami. He later found out that she was entangled with Charlie Dixon, and he divorced her. It also is alleged in the lawsuit that Taylor then later was engaged to a former NBA player, and he too found out, and he was going to bring it forward, but Charlie Dixon allegedly paid for all the money that he had put out towards the wedding, and I guess this is how things were squashed. Again, Joy Taylor is accused of having sexual relationships with also Emmanuel Acho, who had his own show on the network. And apparently her plan, or alleged plan, was to be sleeping with Emmanuel, hoping to get onto his show, but still keeping the relationship with Charlie Dixon. Now, Faraji apparently warned her about sleeping with both men, but Joy apparently was not concerned because she had a plan. Now, her plan was that allegedly, and this is what's in the court documents, that once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to Taylor, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her. This is what it reads in the lawsuit. So, this lawsuit has several claims against several people. It's interesting to see how she brought Joy into this lawsuit, because she says that Joy is aware of the inappropriate things. She's calling out Joy for sleeping her way to the top, and for not supporting her in her claims of sexual harassment against Skip Bayless. And again, apparently Joy told Faraji to get over it. She's also again claiming that Joy was leveraging her sexuality. Joy is a very beautiful woman, very well endowed, and apparently, she used this as a way to move her way to the top, to get herself, on television. She did not have television experience, she had radio experience. Um, and it's interesting to see how she was able to use her sexuality with more than one person in the organization to make waves. Actually, having men who are more qualified than her pulled off, like Marcellus Wiley. Um, it's interesting to note that Skip Bayless didn't even want Joy on his show, but apparently, as a favor to Mr. Dixon, he agreed. Apparently, several people were auditioning for that same moderator role between Skip and Shannon Sharpe, and again, she was given it allegedly for sleeping with Charlie Dixon. Fox has said very little, except to say that we take these allegations seriously and will allow the legal process to run its course. We have no further comment at this time. It's also interesting to note that Joy is still working. Now, there's a lot of people saying that if the roles were reversed, and let's be real, how many people allege that a man slept his way to the top? That doesn't happen. But, say it was a man had, makes his way to the top because he has his father in the business. Those are things that people would be talking about. But the fact that Joy is alleged to have been complicit in a sexual harassment that was happening between Skip and Faraji, that she was sleeping her way to the top, Fox has made no attempt to take her off the air. Now, is that because they don't want to seem like they were negligent, that they are admitting wrong? Most times, a player, a sports commentator, an actress, anybody who has had these kind of claims made against them would probably be suspended, with or without pay would be another story, but would be taken off the air until some of this legal stuff has been cleared up. And again, she is still on the show, apparently dressing much more modestly than she was in the past. In the past, she wore several very revealing or low-cut tops and dresses. And again, she is a very beautiful woman. If you look at her Instagram, you'll be like, this is supposed to be a professional profile. But again, was this not talked about because obviously a man loves to see a woman in this, dressed the way she's dressed, right? Not because they're looking to have a serious relationship, but she's eye candy, right? Now, this sort of puts a real damper, in my opinion, I'm sure in a lot of people's opinion. There was a conversation with Shannon Sharpe and Tori Cooper where they talked about how this allegation is going to put women back many, many years in sports commentating. Because let's be real, men want to talk about sports to other men. As a woman, I know there's guy talk. I understand it. I have, I guess, thicker skin than a lot of women. I can tolerate the backlash, the whatever, but a lot of women can't. And, as Tori Cooper said, this is going to put women back. Definitely, when a woman is in this role, they will be reviewed. Did she sleep her way to the top? It's interesting to also note that there are podcasts that Joy Taylor was on, and one of them, she is talking about how if a man has three things, they're fine, they're fancy, and they have effing money, that standards and boundaries are, as her, she's crumpling up paper, tossing it away, crumpling up paper, tossing it away. So Joy told us who she was in her podcast. We just weren't listening, or we didn't put two and two together. Now, Joy was also in other podcasts with former athletes where she talked about how, you know, a woman has to work that much harder to get to the top and to be able to be a sports commentator. Meanwhile, she's sleeping with Charlie Dixon. She's sleeping with Emmanuel Acho. For me, I've lost respect for her. Again, she's a very beautiful woman, but I think if you're the type of woman who feels and does sleep your way to the top, I think whatever comes her way, she created her own bed, but somebody's not going to be in it this time. Subscribe to Rovis Rants, hit the like button, and we'll see you soon.